What is going on, guys? Maybe this is you. You've watched a couple YouTube videos about steaming the perfect cup of latte. And you said, it looks easy. You go ahead to your espresso machine, you turn on your espresso machine, wait for it to heat up, and start steaming your milk. And as soon as you want to pour, it's just a cup of blob. Well, in this video, we're gonna dive deep into 5 simple tips that are not often talked about in videos, in YouTube videos, and we're gonna see how these 5 tips can dramatically improve your steaming art game to the next level, so that maybe next time when you steam your milk, you get a pour that is like this. So let's go. Hi guys, my name is Josh and I'm from His Brew Coffee, and we've been in the coffee industry for a couple years now, and even just behind the bar. So maybe we have a thing or two to tell you about our experience of how you can steam a better cup of latte. Now, the first tip that I have for you is you need to get the right size pitcher. Your pitcher size should be 1.5 times to 2 times the size of your cup. So for example, if this is a 200 milliliter cup, your pitcher size should be a 400 milliliter pitcher. If your cup is a 300 milliliter, your pitcher size should not be more than 600 milliliter, right? Now, the reason being, it's pretty simple, because when you try to incorporate your milk into the cup, you want the tip of the pitcher to be as close to the base or the surface of the espresso. That way, when you start pouring your latte or your milk, you start incorporating your milk would come onto the surface of the espresso instead of sinking down. Now, if you're using something that is too small for a big cup, what would happen is that the difference between the tip of the pitcher to the surface of the espresso is a lot bigger. If you notice here, if you can see the difference from the tip of the espresso jar all the way to the surface of the milk, it's a lot bigger. And when it's too big, what will happen is when you pour your latte, your milk would sink into your espresso instead of being on the surface of the espresso. Tip number 2 is you want to position the pitcher so that you can create a vortex in the pitcher. And that vortex would create a microfoam that is silky smooth for you to pour a perfect cup of latte. Okay, let's go through this step by step. First of all, you want to be pouring your milk up to the surface of the pitcher, right? Right to the bottom of the indentation of that pitcher. As soon as you got this, you want to lift your pitcher up, leaning the steam one against the spout of the pitcher, and have your tip of the steam one slightly, just 1 millimeter submerged into the milk. And as soon as you have that, you want to turn on your steam one in full. Now, before you turn it on, you want to tilt your pitcher towards the right side. At least for me, it doesn't matter whether it's the right or the left. For me, the right side, it's the most intuitive. The reason being for tilting the pitcher towards a right or a left side is so that you can create a whirlpool, right, or a vortex. And that is super critical. The reason why tip number 2, creating a vortex, is super critical is because you want the microfoam to be steaming not only on the top layer of the milk, but even on the bottom layer of the milk. A couple common mistakes that I see people go wrong with is that when they steam the milk, instead of creating a vortex, they're creating a volcano, like something bubbling. If you see something like this, like a volcano that is bubbling, that's a sure sign that you're not steaming the milk properly. The way to improve it is the next time when you steam it again, try to angle your pitcher towards the right and also towards you, right? Down like that, right? Instead of facing up, you want to face down. Now, the third tip is to steam to the right temperature. Now, there are a lot of ideas out there that says you have to steam to a perfect 60 degrees Celsius and that's it. If you go a degree higher or a degree lower, you've ruined your milk. No, that's not true. The milk is super forgiving. The reason why you want to steam your milk, besides being able to create perfect latte art, is also because the perceived sweetness of the milk is sweeter when it reaches 55 to 62 degrees Celsius. Now, that is the range that you can steam your milk in. But a good rule of thumb for me is just to have your other hand that you're not holding the handle of the pitcher with, to place it at the bottom of the pitcher. That's where it gets hot the fastest. As soon as it's too hot to handle, you can just turn off your steamer. That's it. Nothing else, right? Simple as that. And so steaming to the right temperature is super important, because if you steam the milk that has gone way past 65 degrees, what will happen is that microfoam that you created would now not stick together, but it will separate and creating all the blobs that you commonly see in a over steamed milk. And not only that, when you try it, it just doesn't taste good at all. So steam it to the right temperature. As soon as it's too hot to handle, take your hands off it, turn off the steam one, and you're good to go. The fourth is listen to the right hissing sound. Now, I'm sure some of you baristas can relate. When you go into an espresso shop and you hear the sound of the steaming, and if it sounds like the barista is murdering someone or a chicken is dying, you know that he or she is not steaming it properly, right? So first, what you want to hear for? First and foremost, you would want to hear a hissing or a paper tearing sound. Right? This kind of sound, is that what you want to hear? The reason being is that air is being introduced into the milk in the first 3 to 4 seconds. Once that is done, you want to lift your pitcher up just so ever slightly, 1 centimeter. That way, now no more air is introduced. You're just now steaming the milk, creating microfoam and vortex. Now, that is super important. Many times, barista either do not have or introduce too much air in the beginning, or most of the times the more common thing is they do not introduce enough air, and so all you're hearing is chicken dying sound, like just murdering, like things dead, right? So that's something that's really cringeworthy, at least for some baristas that I've talked to. To try to steam your milk, hearing that hissing sound for the first 3 to 4 seconds. Once that is done, lift your pitcher up 1 centimeter or 2, and that's it, right? After that, you should just hear a normal vortex sound, and once it's too hot to handle, turn it off. Now, the last and final tip is timing of your pour after steaming is really important. Do not leave your milk that you've steamed on the counter for more than 30 seconds or at more than a minute, right? What would happen is when you leave a steamed milk that has already been steamed perfectly for a minute, what happens is that microfoam that you've made in the milk, it now starts, instead of being combined together, creating a wet paint look surface, it's now separating and making it more and more foamy. And what happens is when you start to pour, it creates a glob, right? A blob of milk instead of a silky patterned milk that you're looking for. Now, a pro tip. Sometimes when I steam a milk, and I thought it would be for a flat white, so I would steam it where it's very, very little foam introduced, right? And I can see and can tell by the look of it, it doesn't have enough foam. What I do is after steaming, I would wait for at least 30 seconds to a minute so that the foam would start to incorporate, right? Will come together, or there would be more foam. When there's more foam, I would swirl my pitcher to incorporate the top layer foam all the way to the bottom of the milk so that it's all evenly incorporated. That way, now my milk has thickened up, right, to a level where I think it's acceptable, and then I will start pouring my milk again. So this is just a pro tip. 5 tips that I've mentioned. Which one resonates to you the most? Do you think that after seeing this video, you could pour yourself a perfect cup of latte? Come, let's pour a cup, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.